Oscar Bevis for the Stomping Ground, powered by Wow Hydrate and available on the DAZN. Kalle Sauerland joins me. What's happening, man? I'm good, mate. How are you, K-Dog?
Yeah, I'm back in the country. Arrived on Wednesday, straight into. Well, I went straight to North London Derby, unfortunately, and then I came up here Thursday. So I had a lovely break and raring to go. First show out in 2025. Very exciting.
Yeah, Wednesday didn't go your way, so we won't talk about that.
Let's not talk about football.
It's you just had the Misfits Awards, by the way, and I think that highlights how well X Series done last year. But it's only going to get better in 2025.
Yeah, I mean, look, the scene is now sort of call it established. It is called Misfits, so I don't know if established is the right word, but yeah, you see the roster getting bigger. Obviously, Darren Till's first fight on Misfits this weekend, and we've got a couple of very big announcements in the next day or so. Massive calendar plan for 2025. Going to be bigger than ever. Given that last year, actually, we didn't have any KSI fights. We had 2 pay-per-views.
Showed you could thrive without a JJ fight.
Yeah, so, it shows a lot for the scene. Obviously, the Supercard in Qatar was my highlight of the year, but Dublin stuck out as a great show as well. But it's, we went all over the place again. Miami, Nashville, Houston, London, Leeds. It was a fun year.
Yeah, but we are going to get JJ fighting this year. And is that the announcement that you might be on about?
It could be. It could be.
It would make sense. A lot of people tuning in Saturday night.
I mean, Saturday night, I just say watch this space, Obviously, I'm most intrigued. I know the announcements, but I'm not going to try and sell the show on the announcements. Watch it and you might get a big announcement, but I'm most intrigued to see what Darren Till brings to a boxing ring. I'm fascinated by him. I've loved him as a UFC fighter. What a character. And he fits perfectly in this space, And again, this space has got all sorts. It's got some of the athletes are novice boxers. Others can fight. AT can definitely fight. Anthony Taylor is a legit fighter. He's fought MMA. He's fought pro boxing. So it's a live fight. And people can't make up their mind. Also, people from Liverpool. I'm not going to grass anyone up here. We're not grasses here. But some people are telling me he's lousy. Others are telling me he's fantastic. And you don't sort of meet anyone in the middle, I just go, it's a bit of a Kinder surprise. I've got no idea what's coming out of that egg Saturday night. It's going to be super interesting. A very different Darren Till and Anthony Taylor at the face-off today compared to yesterday.
A little bit more feisty, what we like.
Yeah, I honestly, I sat next to Darren and I think...
Did you nudge him? Did you say, go on, Darren, just a little something today?
I didn't. I said... I sensed, and I've done press conferences over 25 years. I sat there and he goes, "Who are these people?" I'm like, they're misfits. It's the influencer scene, and YouTubers, and what else. And I felt like he walked into another planet. I'm trying to find the right explanation of it, but he was so shocked at what this was. He looked at me like, what have I signed up for here? This is the madhouse, right?
Just a bit different to UFC.
And it's a bit different, but as I said, there's all different types of levels at Misfits as well. And, you've got people like, Dean the Great, who can fight most pros, could probably fight world title level pro within a year easily. See Ty Mitchell's also professional debut. There's a lot of people trying to sign him. He went with Misfits, and going to be interesting. That Misfits Pro division is something that will come this year. We'll see more and more of it, and there's be announcements on that as well soon. But it's going to be interesting seeing the gorilla in the Misfits cage, so to speak.
Yeah.
I know there won't be cages and there won't be head kicks.
Not unless Big John's there, then we might have to have a cage, little wall separation. Big John isn't here. I don't want to dwell on it too much, but just in your words.
We're going to sit down with them very soon.
Why did we not get Tommy Fury, Darren Till? Because there's about a million different stories that people are trying to tell.
The story is, and we're going to have a sit down with John and Tommy shortly to work out how we solve everything, but the pullout was for exactly what they said it was for what he said at the presser. So that's what's on the slate. That's the only thing I can go on. I also said I've never heard of that before. I said we can make changes, whatever. They were very adamant with it. And that's what it is, you know. That's all I can really say on that matter right now.
Does it change your perspective of working with Tommy and John and the team?
Look, that's why I want to sit down, you know, work it out.
Eubank Jr, Benn. Announced.
Yeah.
Even though you've got no dog in the game, was there a weight off your shoulders just seeing?
I think so, because now I can actually, when you all asked me about trying to make that fight and God knows what, and what we went through 3 years ago, at least there's actually a fight to talk about now. So yeah, very much looking forward to see it. Going to be interesting. Still going Eubank, but.
So you want Eubank and you believe Eubank
Despite Ben
as well.
being out, I know he had the tune up in Vegas, didn't he? But he's been out in the ring a long time. But Eubank's also, you know, he had a couple of Smith fights, fair enough. But the Polish guy won't have brought his career along too much. I think just to keep active, I guess, in a way. But he's aged a bit. We saw that obviously in the first Smith fight, but also there was that moment in the Polish fight. But I still think Eubank wins. I think it's tighter than I think it was when it was first made. When we made that fight, I said to Junior at the time, I said, mate, this is a very, very, very lucrative fight for very, very little risk. Risk always, obviously, in professional boxing is there, but I thought it was just a nailed-on fight for him. I think that's changed a bit now. I think the 160 becomes more of an issue. I know the original was made at 157. There was some penalties, but it was a funny sort of agreement. Yeah, I think it's going to be tighter than it would have been, which is great for us, the fans. So, yeah, looking very forward to watch that fight finally take place. Yeah, although the bell's not there yet, we don't know, right?
Yeah, let's hold on.
We were very close 3 years ago.
We couldn't have got any closer, really.
Yeah, and the other question I guess you got to ask is, well, it didn't happen 3 years ago. Why didn't it happen 3 years ago? If he's been cleared and nothing happened 3 years ago, why didn't it happen 3 years ago?
Is there disappointment from your side?
Let's put it this way, without saying too much. Those are things that we're thinking about right now.
Yeah. I was going to say, is the disappointment that you're not involved in this fight when it was
in boxing?
This involved in making the first fight?
I've inherited fighters that I haven't, been involved with before at the right time. I signed George Groves 6 weeks before the Wembley Stadium fight against Carl Froch. That didn't go too well that night, but we still had a great run with George and everything. So I'm a few decades into this game to have too many emotions around that. But yeah, look, I'd love to have been involved, but it is what it is. I enjoy watching it.
If we're to believe it is at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, will you be ringside supporting
Chris? I'll be
doubly
in the
box?
if it's Tottenham, which I think it's Tottenham. I'm pretty sure it's
Tottenham.
You're
going to be in your box or ringside shouting for Chris?
No. I'll be on a nice warm island watching it with a cold beer.
So no Wasserman involvement on the undercard?
That's not a given yet. No, okay. There is a couple of fights that we're talking about, but we'll see if that happens or not.
Okay. Final one, Tyson Fury's retirement. What did you make of his 10, 12-second video?
I know people are saying it's very. I find retirements in boxing, it's different to retirements in music, acting, whatever walk of life. When you retire in boxing, you've got to just leave him alone, right? If he wants to change his mind down the road, it's fair enough. But Mike Tyson, I was about to say, Tyson Fury has earned the right to retire when he wants and come back when he wants. If it's his retirement, I'd like to say you mustn't forget what Tyson has done for the sport. Not recently, but wind back the years to Dusseldorf when he beat Klitschko and brought back some very interesting. Klitschko's were great fighters, but they dominated, and he ended that dominance, and it sort of brought the heavyweights back.
Yeah. In terms of moving forward for Tyson Fury, would it only be Anthony Joshua you would want to see him come back to fight?
No, because I think it's a very interesting division at the moment. Which is quite evenly matched. There's some very good fights out there. The likes of the ones coming through. Kabayel. People talk about Bacoli, but look at this.
I guess factually, none of them lucrative enough to bring him back.
Exactly. So he's like, the problem for Tyson, I guess, as well, is you've got to get a motivation. And cut the shit, right? The motivation is a big check now. And out of those fights, even the AJ fight, it's a massive fight, but it doesn't do the numbers it would have done a year or two ago. That's also a fact. You know, I don't think anyone can argue on that. It's still a massive, massive fight for British boxing.
Yeah. Final one. I know you're an
but it is the biggest fight in British boxing still, even with Eubank Benn. AJ Fury is something that will always be very special.
Yeah. I know you're an intellect. What does Dick Turpin wore a mask mean?
That I'm trying to work out. You know what? I haven't quite worked out this AI stuff, right. But I'm going to give it a go and try and understand that one, because Tyson, I'm sure
cryptic.
It is. Yeah, I know what Dick Turpin is, but I can't work out how it fits into it.
It was
it was a highway robber. I know, but
so he's insinuated he's being robbed.
Means snatch and grab.
Robber. Everyone knew he was a robber.
We're having a discussion with Coogan here. That is a very Coogan. That's a very, very good comment you make. So does it imply that he came to boxing, robbed it, and left? I don't know. Because I think he gave a lot to boxing.